Welcome to Design of Machine Element 2, second module. Today we'll solve some of the important problem with respect to last topic, that is spring. We have to design a spring, mainly helical spring, along with some other types of spring such as leaf spring and some other different types of spring. So mainly we have to design helical spring. This is the first problem on design of spring. It's nothing but helical compression spring. We have to design completely. So this is one type of problem. So if you know one such type, so the most of the problem is similar. So that is nothing but design of a helical spring. I'll read the problem now. Design a helical compression spring for a maximum load of 1200 Newton for a deflection of 25 mm. Spring index is 5. Permissible shear stress is 400 megapascal, and modulus of rigidity G is 85 gigapascal. So this is the nature of the problem in design of spring. So design means we need to find out all the dimensions of spring, such as mean diameter of the coil, then wire diameter, and different types of length such as free length of the spring, solid length, and compressed length. And we need to find out what is the number of active turns and total number of turns, or total number of coils we need to find out. Then what is the pitch of a spring, and free length we need to find out. Along with you need to find out what is the stiffness required. So that is nothing but actual spring stiffness or spring rate, and required stiffness or spring rate we need to find out. So that includes complete design. So usually they will give some of the important data here. Always the most of the spring design, so that is based on helical spring. So usually helical compression spring is used for wide variety of application. So we have to design for a maximum load of 1200 Newton. So this is a maximum load carrying capacity of the spring is 1200 Newton. So that is the maximum value. So it means that always spring subjected to minimum load as well as maximum load. So you have to here it is given maximum load, and for a deflection of 25 millimeter. So deflection is 25 millimeter, because the change in the dimensions of the spring is 25 millimeter deflection. Whatever the difference between the load before acting, that is nothing but initial load and final load. So whatever the deflection, so that takes place, that is nothing but deflection of the spring, that is 25 millimeter. Spring index is given. So spring index is nothing but ratio of mean coil diameter to the diameter of the wire, so that also given. And permissible shear stress is given. It is nothing but shear stress in the material, that is nothing but wire material, is 400 megapascal, and the modulus of rigidity is 85 gigapascal. So GPa is given. So we need to design. These are the given data. F2 is nothing but the maximum load. So F2, when the maximum deflection is 25 millimeter. Similarly, the spring may act minimum load, that is nothing but F1. So then the deflection will be Y1. So here with respect to maximum load condition is given. So that's why F2 value is 1200 Newton, Y2 value is 25 millimeter. Y2 is nothing but deflection of the spring. And C is nothing but spring index. So that value is given here. It's nothing but spring index, ratio of capital letter D to small letter d. And permissible shear stress in the spring material or in the wire is given, that is nothing but shear stress induced 400 Newton per millimeter square. and modulus of rigidity, that is denoted by capital letter G, so that is 85 gigapascal. It's nothing but 85 into 10 to the power 3 Newton per millimeter square. So now we'll solve how to solve this type of problem, means design. So complete design includes, we need to find out all the dimensions of spring, that is nothing but helical spring dimensions. The first step, so design the spring for maximum deflection and maximum load. Usually we have to design the spring for maximum deflection and maximum load if they given, otherwise whatever the load they given, so you have to design for that load. Here it is given maximum load and maximum deflection, so that's why you have to design the spring for maximum deflection and maximum load. The first one, we need to find out what is the wire diameter. So we need to use a standard equation, so that is shear stress in the helical compression spring, so that we derive this expression for a circular cross section. So because most of the spring material having circular spring wire having circular cross section, so that's why we have to use this equation. That equation is for shear stress induced in the wire, so it is given by this equation number, that is 11.1 D. So if you find in your data and book, you will get this equation from page number 169. So we'll see what are the notation here. The tau is nothing but shear stress, so tau is equal to 8 FD into K divided by pi into small letter d cube. So 8 is a constant, F is nothing but maximum load, so we have to consider maximum load, whatever the given load. D is nothing but mean diameter of the coil, so whatever the mean diameter of the coil is denoted by capital letter D, and K is nothing but wall stress, wall factor. It's also called wall stress correction factor, so that also you will get from equation number 11.2a, and divided by pi into d cube. So d is nothing but diameter of a wire in that helical spring. So now you have to equate this one, but capital letter D is D also unknown, even small letter d also unknown, so both are unknown, so you cannot find. uh, for that reason they have given spring index, that is 5, because the relationship between this spring index is nothing but capital letter D divided by D is nothing but spring index C. C equal to always capital letter D divided by small letter d. Spring index is given by this equation, that is d by d, equation number 11.2c. So this expression you can find in your data and book from page number 169. So d is nothing but d is capital letter D is nothing but pitch diameter or mean diameter of spring, so usually in millimeter, and small letter d is nothing but diameter of the wire, so that also in millimeter. So that's for spring index is a unitless or dimensionless number, so no unit for C, so it's a constant. So because they have given value of C, so you have to make one relation between the mean diameter of the coil to uh, diameter of the wire, so that is nothing but small letter d. That is 5 C value is given in the problem, so spring index equal to D divided by D, so therefore capital letter D is nothing but 5 into D. So because both are unknown, so you have to substitute in the previous equation, that is 11.1 D. In the shear stress equation we need to substitute, so then only it is able to calculate both value, that is mean diameter of the coil as well as diameter of wire. Now before that we need to find out one factor, so that is nothing but wall stress factor. In order to consider the account of curvature into effect, so we have to consider wall stress correction factor. So we have already discussed what is the importance of this factor. So the equation for this factor in your data and book, that is from equation number 11.2a in page number 169. So you can find this equation. So this is for wall stress factor. So K you have to find out. The relationship between the K is main thing is C. So C already given in the equation. So we have to substitute value of spring index in equation number 11.2a, so that you can calculate wall stress correction factor. So now I will substitute value of C here. So C is nothing but 5. So 4 into 5 minus 1 divided by 4 into 5 minus 4 plus 0.615 divided by 5. So you will get wall stress correction factor as 1.3105. So now we got value of K. Now we need to substitute all the values in the previous equation, that is 11.1D. So that is nothing but shear stress in the helical spring. Now you substitute, because shear stress value is given, that is tau. Tau is nothing but 400 Newton per mm square. So 8 into F, because we have to consider F is general equation. So we have to design for maximum force. That's why we have to consider a value of F2. F2 value you have to consider. F2 value is given in the problem, that is 1200, and capital letter D. So that value is not given directly. So but they have given spring index. So we got this relation, because C equal to capital letter D by D. So capital letter D can be written as 5 into small letter d. So into, that is K value. K is nothing but wall stress correction factor, that is 1.3105 divided by pi into d cube. So we need to find out here what is the wire diameter of the spring. It's nothing but spring wire diameter. So after substitution, so you'll get a value nearly 7 point something. So we have to standardize this value. So for that reason we have to go for this table, that is 11.2 from page number 188. So nearer value you have to consider in that table. The table is nothing but 11.2. So you'll get you can find this table in your data and book from page number 188. So the nearer value we have to consider standard value. So standard value from the table is 7.5 millimeter. It's nothing but, so diameter of the wire is 7.5 millimeter. So here onwards we have to use standard value. Sometime we'll get approximate value. So you are not supposed to use approximate value for the design procedure. Once you get the standard value, so rest of the design procedure you have to use standard diameter of the wire. Now you can calculate second one, that is mean coil diameter. Once you get the small letter d, so easily you will get capital letter D. So there is a relation between capital letter D and small letter is nothing but spring index. We already used this equation 11.2c. So we will get this equation from page number 169. So C value given and D value we need to find out, but the small letter D, the standard value you have to use 7.5. So we can find out capital letter D is nothing but mean coil diameter of the spring. So it can be calculated like this: capital letter D equal to 5 into small letter d. So 5 into 7.5 is nothing but 37.5 millimeter. So you can see there will be always a lot of variation between these two diameter. The capital letter D is nothing but coil diameter and small letter d is nothing but wire diameter. So this is about mean coil diameter. These two dimensions are very important and very crucial in the design or analysis of spring, mainly in the helical spring. Next design consideration, that is number of active coil. We have to find out how many active coils are there in the spring. So there will be total number of coil as well as active number of coil. So we are not supposed to consider total number of coil. We have to consider only active number of coil. So how to calculate active number of coil? So there is a relation that is from page number 170, equation number 11.5a. So this equation is for actual deflection of the spring. So actual spring deflection for maximum load is nothing but maximum deflection. So y2 is nothing but maximum deflection. In your data and book they are given y, so you have to replace for y2 because maximum deflection. The rest of the formula, wherever f comes, we have to change it to f2 because deflection and load relation is given. It's nothing but load deflection characteristics. So y2 and f2, y2 is nothing but deflection and f2 is nothing but load. So here we have to consider for maximum load as well as maximum deflection. So the expression, so in terms of one parameters, that is I is nothing but number of active coil in the spring. So easily you can calculate, you can use any one of the equation. So maximum deflection is given, that is 25 millimeter 8. F2 is, that is nothing but maximum load 1200 Newton. D cube, that is nothing but capital letter D cube, D is 37.5 cube into I. We need to find out value of I divided by G. So G is nothing but modulus of rigidity of the spring material. So it is given 85 into 10 to the power 3 Newton per millimeter square into small letter d to the power 4. It's nothing but 7.5 to the power 4. So you'll get I value, that is nothing but number of active coil in the spring. So you'll get 13.28. So you have to make it to full number because always whatever the number of coil should be in whole number. So most of the cases you will get in terms of fraction, but we have to write next higher value. So that is nothing but 14. So next one, we need to find out what is the total number of coil in the design of helical spring. So the main importance is we have to given for a number of active coil. So number of active coil plus number of inactive coils. So there will be active as well as inactive coils in the spring. So whatever the ends of the helical spring, so that will be inactive coils because the ends of the helical coils, there will be always two ends for helical spring. So that will form based on different types. So usually you can see different types of spring coil ends from table 11.4 in page number 189. So usually 4 methods are used to form ends of the coil, and whatever the these ends, two ends, which will not affect the deflection, what we calculated by the load deflection equation. So therefore we are going to neglect this, whatever the effect of inactive coil, or we call it as end coils. So usually we assume that whatever the type of spring coil end as square and ground end from table 11.4. So end coil will be 2 numbers. So that's why we have to add inactive coil to the active coil. So I already we we calculated, that is 14. So that is nothing but number of active coil. If you add inactive coil or end coil, so this is based on different types. There will be four important types. One is plain end. If you consider plain end, so then uh, whatever the value of end coil or inactive coil is 0. Similarly, if the end condition is plain and ground end, then value will be 1. Similarly, square or close end, so then the value of end coil will be, or inactive coil will be 2. Similarly, square end or ground end, then value will be 2. So you have a diagram in your data book, that is from page number 189. So you can see there will be a four important end condition for spring, that is plain end, ground, and third one is square end, and fourth one square end, ground end. So here if it is not given in the problem, so always go for assumption that square end, ground end. So that's why whatever the equation in your data book is 11.14D. So they are given directly. If not given suitable end condition, always you have to use this equation, that is 11.14D from page number 173. So easily you can calculate total number of coils. So it is denoted by IT. So IT is 14 plus 2, because 2 is for ground and square. Therefore 14 plus 2, 16. The 16 indicates total number of coil including inactive coil or end coil. Next one, we need to find out what is the solid length of the spring. So solid length is nothing but when the adjacent coil touch each other. So when it touches each other, so when you apply maximum load to the spring, so because it will give you maximum deflection, so that whatever the adjacent coil, that will touch each other, so that there will not be any gap. So such length we called it as solid length of the spring. So for that we have to use again the same table, that is 11.4 for different end condition, what we discussed earlier, that is plain end condition. Similarly, we have a plain and ground end condition. Similarly, we have a square or close end condition, and finally one of the important end condition, that is square and ground end. So based on that one, so we have equation for solid length, so that is equal to I plus 2 into D. So I plus 2 into D, so I is nothing but number of active coils plus 2 into D. D is nothing but diameter of wire. So easily you can calculate solid length of the spring, that is 14 plus 2 into 7.5 is equal to 120 millimeter. So this is solid length of the spring. Now similarly we need to find out free length of the spring. Free length of the spring indicates there should not be any force acting on the spring. So whatever the free length in the absence of any external force, so that is denoted as L suffix O, L naught. So that is equal to I plus 2 into D plus Y plus A. Again you can find this expression from the same table, that is 11.4 from page number 189. So Y is equal to, we already so we have to calculate Y first. So Y is nothing but deflection, sorry Y is nothing but actual deflection. So that can be calculated like this: 8 into 120, sorry 1200 into 37.5 cube into 14 divided by 85 into 10 to the power 3 into 7.54, that is equal to 26.35 millimeters. So we already value given in the problem, so that is 25. That is based on that is not based on standard diameter, because we got standard diameter as 7.5. So if you substitute this value, so you'll get 26.35 millimeters. So you have to use this value in the calculation, that is free length of the spring. So A can be calculated like this, that is x into D into I. So that is x value from figure 11.6. We have to use one figure. It is 11.1. So based on function of coil ratio, so always x value as a function of coil ratio C is nothing but spring index. So this whatever the figure you can see, that is from page number 174, figure 11.6. so based on diameter as well, so x a equal to x into d into I. So x value, so from the figure, so we'll get x value as 0.12, because based on c value you have to calculate. C value is 5, that is given in the problem. So based on c value you can find x value from figure 11.6. so x value becomes 0.12 into 7.5. 7.5 is nothing but diameter of the wire into 14. 14 indicates number of active coils in the spring. So that you'll get a value as a value is nothing but total clearance between the working coils. So that is nothing but what is the clearance between the working coils. So that we have to add to the uh, length, solid length. So I plus 2 into d is nothing but solid length, plus y is nothing but axial deflection. So that is we calculated based on the standard diameter of the spring wire, and a is nothing but that gap, because in the free length means there will be always gap between the two coils. So solid length means there is no gap between the successive coil length when two coils are touch each other. Free length indicates there should be a gap, so that gap is denoted by small letter a. So we already discussed that one in page number 168 for different types of spring. So that is figure 11.1, notations for different types of spring. So we discussed free length, then compressed length, then solid length, operating length. So we discussed. So based on that one you have to find out free length. So free length is always solid length plus axial deflection plus the clearance between the coils. So therefore we will get the L naught as 14 plus 2 into 7.5 plus 26.35 plus 12.6. So we will get free length of the spring is 158.95. So you can imagine here, this is the solid length and this is the 158.95 is the free length. So this is without any application of the load. The spring is initially at 158.95. so when the whatever the load applied, the maximum load, the deflection will be 25. The standard deflection is 26.35 millimeter. So that the total free length of the spring is 158.95 millimeter. Next you have to find out spring rate. It is nothing but a required spring rate that can be calculated from equation number 11.7a. Required spring rate is nothing but spring stiffness. It is denoted by F naught. So F naught can be calculated F divided by Y. So stiffness is nothing but amount of load required per unit deflection. So F is nothing but load and Y is nothing but deflection. So therefore unit of stiffness is Newton per millimeter. So equation is given in terms of F and Y. Here we are consider for maximum, we are going to design for maximum load as well as for maximum deflection. Therefore we have to use suffix 2. Suffix 1 indicates for minimum load as well as minimum deflection. Suffix 2 indicates maximum load as well as maximum deflection. So F2. F2 is for maximum load, Y2 is for maximum deflection. So therefore you have to change the equation 11.7a. so F you have to replace F2 and Y you have to replace to Y2. So based on that you'll get F0 as F2 value is 1200 and Y2 is 25, so that is equal to 48 Newton per millimeter. So this is the required spring rate or required stiffness of the spring material. So this is the one more important steps in the design of helical spring. We need to find out what is the stiffness of the spring. Now next step we have to find out actual spring rate. So actual spring rate based on the whatever the properties, that is with respect to G you have to find out. So that is from equation number 11.7a. so it is given by F0 equal to d to the power 4 into G divided by 8 into I into d cube. So this expression also we derived already. So F0 is 7.5 to the power 4 into 85,000 divided by 8 into 14 into 37.5 to the power 3 is equal to 45.53. So this is the actual spring rate of the spring rate. So that can be calculated with the help of equation 11.7a from your data and book, that is from page number 170. So that is about actual spring rate. Similarly, if they ask to find out pitch, what is the pitch of the spring, that also you can calculate from the table, same table, that is 11.4 from page number 189 in your data and book. So based on that also you can calculate pitch. These are the important design of helical spring, either helical compression or helical tension spring. So if you know all these steps, similar steps to be followed in most of the problem. So that is one of the important types of problem in design of spring or design of helical spring. So we'll see next problem. We'll solve next problem in next class. Thank you.